Welcome to Health 2660. Here we don't just talk about health, we tell the stories that heal. Now please listen to the story. My name is Walter. I'm 68 years old, and for most of my life, mornings began the same way, with the warm, familiar comfort of a toasted slice of bread. Sometimes with butter, sometimes with jam, but always with a sense of peace. That small ritual grounded me, especially after my wife passed. It was one of the last things I had that still felt normal. My wife, bless her soul, had always understood the simple pleasures. She wasn't one for grand gestures or extravagant vacations. Her joy resided in the everyday, a perfectly brewed cup of coffee, a blooming rose in the garden, the comforting weight of a cat on her lap, and bread, of course. She believed in the magic of bread, its ability to nourish not just the body, but the soul. I remember countless mornings the aroma of freshly baked bread filling our kitchen, a silent promise of warmth and connection. She made everything from scratch crusty sourdough loaves to sweet yeasty rolls. Each loaf was a testament to her love, kneaded with care and baked with devotion. Then came the diagnosis: prediabetes and high blood pressure. The doctor was kind, but firm. You'll have to cut back on carbs, especially bread. I nodded. I understood. Intellectually, I grasped the need for change. I knew my health was at stake, and I wasn't foolish enough to ignore the warning signs. But that single sentence hit harder than expected. It wasn't just about giving up a food. It felt like giving up a part of myself, a connection to my past, a link to my beloved wife. It was a symbol of everything I cherished: comfort, simplicity, and the quiet joy of the morning ritual. I remember going home that day and standing in front of my toaster holding a loaf in my hand, wondering if this was the last time. A simple store-bought loaf of white bread, the kind I'd been eating for years without a second thought. But now, it felt like contraband, a forbidden pleasure. I traced the outline of the plastic packaging, feeling a strange mix of longing and guilt. And just like that, a piece of my daily joy disappeared. Mornings grew quiet dull. The silence was deafening. It wasn't just the absence of the toaster's hum or the satisfying crunch of toast. It was the absence of the feeling that went with it. I swapped toast for oatmeal eggs, bland smoothies, foods that filled the stomach, but not the heart. Each morning, I dutifully choked down my healthy breakfast, feeling a sense of emptiness that no amount of fiber could fill. The oatmeal was gloppy and tasteless, the eggs rubbery and unappetizing, the smoothies, a sickly sweet concoction that did little to lift my spirits. I tried adding different toppings to the oatmeal: berries, nut seeds, but nothing could replicate the simple satisfaction of a slice of toast, warm and golden brown, slathered with butter and a sprinkle of salt. Weeks passed. I told myself I was doing the right thing, that my health was more important than a fleeting moment of culinary pleasure. But my spirit said otherwise. Meals felt like medicine, a necessary evil, rather than a source of enjoyment. I avoided the bakery aisle altogether, averting my eyes as I walked past the tempting displays of crusty baguettes, flaky croissants, and decadent cakes. It was a form of self-inflicted torture, a constant reminder of what I was missing. I began to believe that aging was just about giving up things you loved. That's what hurt the most. It wasn't just the bread. It was the gradual erosion of joy, the slow but steady surrender to the inevitable decline of life. I pictured myself slowly fading away, a shell of my former self, existing but not truly living. The thought was terrifying. Then something unexpected happened. One rainy Tuesday, I was at the grocery store, buying broccoli and brown rice the usual. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting a sterile glow on the aisles of meticulously arranged produce. I felt like a robot, mindlessly going through the motions, selecting the same bland ingredients week after week. At the bakery section, I overheard a soft-spoken woman speaking to the attendant. She was holding a loaf of dark, hearty-looking bread. "I used to avoid bread too," she said, "but this one doesn't spike my blood sugar. Its sprouted grain changed my mornings." Her voice was gentle and reassuring, like a warm blanket on a cold day. She spoke with a quiet confidence that piqued my interest. The bakery attendant, a young man with a bored expression, simply nodded and adjusted his paper hat. He probably heard similar stories every day, I thought. But there was something different about this woman, something that made me want to listen. She noticed me listening, smiled, and added, "Don't give up bread, sir. Just find the right kind." Her eyes twinkled with genuine empathy. It was a simple statement, but it resonated deeply within me. It was as if she had given me permission to reclaim a part of myself, to defy the dictates of my doctor and the limitations of my aging body. Something about her tone, gentle certain, made me pause. It wasn't just the words themselves, but the genuine concern in her voice, the unspoken understanding that she too had faced a similar struggle. It was a moment of unexpected connection, a brief but meaningful encounter that would change the course of my life. That afternoon, I bought a small loaf of sprouted grain bread. It was tucked away on a lower shelf, almost hidden from view. The packaging was plain and unassuming, but the bread itself looked promising, dark, dense, and studded with visible grains. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I was making a mistake. But the woman's words echoed in my ears, urging me to take a chance. The next morning, I toasted a slice, added almond butter, and a sprinkle of cinnamon, and took a bite. It was different, earthy, nutty, but it felt right. Like I had taken back a small part of myself. The texture was chewier than the white bread I was used to, and the flavor was more complex, with a hint of sweetness and a subtle, almost savory note. But it was satisfying in a way that my bland oatmeal breakfasts had never been. It was more than just food. It was a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, joy could still be found. Encouraged, I began exploring. Oat bread came next, soft and slightly sweet, like something my wife used to bake on Sundays. I remembered her humming softly as she kneaded the dough, her hands moving with practiced grace. The aroma of baking oat bread would fill the house, creating a sense of warmth and contentment. I felt a pang of nostalgia, a longing for those simpler times. Then came whole wheat cinnamon raisin bread, which reminded me of autumn breakfasts with our grandchildren. We would gather around the kitchen table, the air crisp and cool, the scent of cinnamon filling the air. My wife would slice the bread, spreading it with butter, and watching with delight as the children devoured it. Those were precious moments, filled with laughter and love. I discovered banana nut bread made with almond flour and crushed walnuts. It felt like dessert, yet it didn't leave me sluggish or guilty. I paired it with Greek yogurt and coffee, a new morning ritual. It was a decadent treat that I could enjoy without compromising my health. The banana nut bread was moist and flavorful, the walnuts adding a satisfying crunch. It was the perfect complement to the tangy Greek yogurt and the rich dark coffee. and then sourdough. Rustic, tangy, familiar. I remembered my wife kneading dough on quiet Saturday mornings, flour dusting the kitchen like snow. She would let the dough rise, slowly coaxing it to life with her gentle touch. The sourdough starter was her pride and joy, a living organism that she had nurtured for years. She believed that the secret to good sourdough was patience and love. I could almost see her, her face flushed with exertion, her eyes sparkling with pride as she pulled a perfectly formed loaf from the oven. Each bread brought back a memory, a comfort I thought I had to leave behind. It was like reconnecting with old friends, rediscovering forgotten joys. Each slice was a portal to the past, a reminder of the love and laughter that had filled my life. The bread wasn't just nourishing my body, it was nourishing my soul. But this wasn't just emotional. My energy began to improve. No more crashing mid-morning. I could take longer walks. I started to feel like myself again, strong and vibrant. The fatigue that had been plaguing me for months began to dissipate. I rediscovered my love of gardening, spending hours tending to my roses and vegetables. I even started taking a pottery class at the local community center. My mood lifted. The darkness that had been clouding my mind began to fade. I found myself smiling more, laughing more, and engaging more fully with the world around me. I reconnected with old friends, rekindled forgotten hobbies, and embraced life with renewed enthusiasm. Even my doctor was impressed my blood pressure had stabilized and my glucose levels were no longer in the danger zone. He looked at me during my last visit and said, "You're doing better than many people 10 years younger." He seemed genuinely surprised and pleased by my progress. I smiled. I brought bread back, I told him. It was a simple explanation, but it captured the essence of my transformation. He chuckled. "Who knew?" He shook his head in disbelief, scribbling something on my chart. I could tell he was skeptical, but he couldn't deny the evidence of his own eyes. My health had improved dramatically, and bread in its own way had played a part. Now, I still eat carefully. I read labels. I understand the difference between a refined slice and one full of fiber and heart. I've learned to make informed choices, to prioritize whole grains, and to limit my intake of added sugars and unhealthy fats. I've also discovered the joy of baking my own bread, using healthier ingredients, and experimenting with different flavors. Each morning, as I sit by the window with a slice of toast and a warm drink, I'm reminded of something powerful. Healing isn't just about what you remove. It's also about what you bring back wisely, gently with joy. It's about finding balance, about making informed choices, and about embracing life with all its complexities. And for me, it all began with a slice of bread. A single slice of bread that reignited my love of life and reminded me that even in the face of adversity, joy can always be found. The simple act of eating a piece of toast became a symbol of hope, a reminder that I was still capable of finding pleasure in the everyday, and that even in my late years, there was still much to look forward to. The sun streams through the window, warming my face as I take another bite. The almond butter is creamy and smooth. The cinnamon adds a touch of spice, and the sprouted grain bread provides a satisfying chewiness. It's the perfect start to the day, a moment of peace and contentment that sets the tone for the hours to come. I close my eyes, savoring the flavors and the memories that they evoke. I'm grateful for the simple gift of bread and for the woman who reminded me not to give up on the things I love. Life is good, and I'm ready to embrace it, one slice of bread at a time. The years have passed, and I'm now approaching my 80th birthday. My morning ritual continues, though the bread choices have expanded even further. I've become quite the adventurous bread connoisseur, experimenting with ancient grains like spelt and kamut, and even venturing into the world of gluten-free options, not because I need to, but because I enjoy the variety. I've learned to bake with these different flours, adapting recipes and techniques to create breads that are both healthy and delicious. I often think about the woman I met in the grocery store that rainy Tuesday. I never saw her again, but her words continue to resonate with me. She was a stranger, yet she offered me a profound gift, the permission to reclaim my joy. I sometimes wonder if she even remembers our brief encounter, or if she realizes the impact she had on my life. I hope that wherever she is, she's enjoying a slice of bread, knowing that she has made a difference in the world. And my wife, bless her heart, she would have loved all of this. She would have delighted in my newfound enthusiasm for healthy eating and my adventurous spirit in the kitchen. I often feel her presence beside me as I bake, guiding my hands and whispering words of encouragement. Her love continues to nourish me, even though she is no longer physically here. I've also started sharing my bread baking creations with others. I bake loaves for my neighbors, for the local senior center, and for friends who are struggling with health issues. It's my way of paying it forward, of sharing the joy and healing that bread has brought into my life. I've even started a small online blog where I share my recipes and stories about bread and healing. It's a way to connect with others and to inspire them to find their own paths to wellness. So if you're facing a health challenge, or if you're simply feeling lost and discouraged, remember my story. Don't give up on the things you love. Find new ways to adapt to rediscover and to embrace life with joy. And who knows, maybe a slice of bread will be the thing that brings you back too. The smell of baking bread still fills my kitchen most mornings. It's a testament to resilience, a symbol of rediscovering joy in the face of adversity. And with each bite, I remember it's not just about the bread, it's about the life it brought back. Health 2660, thanks you for listening. We'll see you in the next video, and until then, be kind to yourself.